All right, guys, welcome to the video. Now, this is Jason once again, and we're going to talk about dealing with a timeshare exit company. So, if you want to get out of your timeshare, might be the most important video in that context. Now, we've had a lot of people watch these videos and these screen capture videos, and by a lot, I mean thousands of people watch them, and they seem to like them. The feedback's been positive, and so I'm going to do some more of these screen capture videos. Once again, because the feedback's been good, and you as a consumer knows better than basically the general public. Timeshare owners know better what kind of timeshare videos they like. So that's why we're going to do them here. I'm shooting it on my iPad once again. The website is freefromvacationfees.com. Feel free to visit that at any point. But I want to talk about something super important when it comes to getting out of your timeshare. And it's really the nuts and bolts of it. And that is specifically, how to protect your money. Okay? How to protect your money when you're getting out of a timeshare, because contrary to popular belief, this is typically not something that is going to be free. Whether you're using an attorney, we are not attorneys, but whether you're using an attorney or an advocate or any other exit company, it's not going to be a free service. Okay? So you want to protect your money in doing this. And this is something especially that you as an owner, I'd imagine, are quite concerned about, because getting into the timeshare, you were obviously scammed. At least most of you were. And by scams, I mean a scam is just simply lies. Okay, you were told a bucket of lies about your timeshare, times you could use it, and after talking to many people. This is recently, this is going back over the years. Generally, the lies are pretty similar. So you're any place you got sold a timeshare, generally they'll tell you, well, just sit down with us and we're not going to pressure into anything, and it winds up being a high pressured situation in which they promise you the moon. A common one is that they promise you can cancel. Okay, so the promise of a cancel and getting your money back, a cancel and refund, is a big one. But then what happens, especially with bigger timeshare companies, when you try to do that, they won't even listen to you. Another one typically has to do with the times of use. This is a typical one, namely that you can use a timeshare at any time, and that winds up not being the case. Okay, and then you have other instances where you're being sold a timeshare, and this, quite frankly, is a really common one. You're told that something along the lines of it's going to be something that's easy to get out of, or you can sell it. It's really easy to sell, or typically these companies will say, well, we'll take it back, which never, quite frankly, happens to be the case. But in any event, it's among lots of lies. So a quote that I'd like to use is basically timeshare is open air. It's not a real tangible asset. And so the only way to make logical, rational people, or to get logical, rational people to buy a timeshare, basically, is to tell them a lie. That they actually own something that's of value, and it most certainly is not of value. So any event, now that you're in that situation, how do you get out and protect your money? How do you ensure that you're going to get out? So, as I said, most of the people that I speak with are highly skeptical. They have been burned by their timeshare, and then they're going to try to use a timeshare exit company, and so their skepticism is sort of up several notches on the ladder because they don't want to give away any more money. So the primary protection you have here, okay, and again, do your own research, but I'm just going to tell you, your primary protection is, in fact, a credit card, okay? And especially for the older crowd, those people over 60 especially, many of whom I speak with who are not savvy on the internet, this is the place in which we tend to get the most pushback. Well, they will say we were told by so-called experts, never to give out credit card information. That's a common one. Never get out the credit card information. And so you'll have some of these people who will pay because what's the fear? The fear with a credit card is that you're going to give away, personal info. But the problem is that really a credit card, the point of a credit card, especially as we go into 2020 in the modern world, is really to protect you. Okay? So I get calls from my credit card company all the time just to check up. If let's say I go to Target or let's say I buy anything with a credit card online, I'll typically get a call just to verify that transaction, and maybe you will too. That's because the primary role of a credit card and the reason you would use a credit card and the reason why credit card companies like Visa and MasterCard, one of the primary reasons they have become so popular is that they protect those transactions, okay? Meaning that any type of fraudulent transaction, okay, you can notify them and they can block that, all right? In many cases, in most cases, even after the charge, okay? And if a consumer does that, it's what's called a chargeback. If a consumer claims fraud, it's just a chargeback on their credit card. So if you're dealing with a timeshare exit company, okay, and let's say that fee, the average fees on these can be really, really high. A common fee is $5,000, especially if you're dealing with attorneys. Now, we at Free From Vacation Fees are nowhere near that. We are not attorneys, but we're nowhere near that price. In fact, we're typically less than half of that price if you come through us. But regardless, and in any event, still, if you use a credit card to pay, okay, it protects you. And the reason is that you can run a chargeback. You can just basically, all that is you can basically dispute it. What you never want to do, and I'll make this its own bullet point, never pay with a check or a money order or direct withdrawal from your bank account or cash. And this can be really hard for especially the older people that I deal with. And we deal with a lot of timeshare owners who have owned since the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s, people that are approaching 60 and people over 60. And they've always paid with checks and things. And when you get into the over-the-phone world or the online world, they just have bought into a lot of misinformation about not using credit cards because of personal info. But credit cards are the very thing that will protect the transaction. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. Now, another thing here, and just to back up, if you pay with cash or you pay with a money order, generally speaking, the cash is gone. And so in the event that it is a bad company who won't give you your money back, there's not a whole lot you can do in those cases. All right? So now the second part of this I want to chat about real quick is the other thing you can do to protect yourself. The credit card is the number one thing, all right? But there are some other things. A lesser thing you can do is if the company actually offers installment pricing, simply meaning that you can pay, that should be pricing, not writing, simply meaning that you can pay on a monthly installment plan. That should be installment. I'll correct it here real quick. But simply meaning that you can pay on a monthly installment plan. So let's say you can pay on, $100 or even, $200 per month. Okay, until you get out of your timeshare. And as we talk about on the phone, this is generally a process. Regardless of what any timeshare company tells you, generally speaking, this is a process that can take 6 months or longer. A year is very common. So any company that tells you, they can have you out, we get you out in 30 days, or even 90 days, well, that's generally misinfo, okay? You're generally dealing with misinformation there. Generally, that's not the case. The average is typically somewhere up around that 8-month mark. Again, it can be lower. You can get about 6 months or less, depending on your timeshare company. But generally, you're up around that 8-month to a year mark. And so, if you pay in installment pricing, then generally it allows you sort of to gauge how that process is going without spending all your money up front. Now, that's not the end all be all. Again, there's nothing wrong with paying up front, okay? And especially using a credit card. Because again, you can dispute that charge. And also, another thing you want to look at, and this could be considered the third thing here, is the money back guarantee. Okay? So you want that in writing. You want a 100% money back guarantee. You get your money back if we do not get you out of your timeshare. Okay? If you have that guarantee plus a credit card, you're generally pretty safe. But that doesn't mean you're just going to go blindly into it. You want to do your research and make sure you're dealing with someone you trust. But again, generally that is a good thing. Now, one of the drawbacks of using a month-to-month payment structure is if this is on a contract. Okay, in other words, this is what timeshare companies do. And this is the reason why people generally ruin their credit when they stop paying. Because that timeshare company has a contract, and so if you stop paying that monthly installment, then they will generally ding your credit to get you to pay. And so if you're dealing with an exit company, any exit company, and you're on a monthly payment, but it's a contract form, meaning you're in for, let's say 12 months at $200 a month, okay, and that's a locked-in contract, then that company can ding your credit. So you don't want that to be a locked-in contract, all right? You want it really to be based off the idea, basically, of its monthly payments with the total due upon exit of your timeshare, but not on a contract basis. If it's set up that way, then generally there's no credit issues. So again, just in recapping, the main thing to consider here is, number one, do you trust the company? Okay, so do your research. Do you like and do you trust the company you're dealing with, the person you are dealing with? Okay, secondly, pay with a credit card. Okay, that is the most important thing. Do you trust, number one? Number two, pay with a credit card because it protects you. Never pay with a check or a money order or a direct withdrawal or cash, because if the transaction goes wrong or it ends up being a bad company, you can't get that back. It's too hard to do. All right? And lastly, and this is not the end-all be-all, but if they do offer installment pricing, it can be a good thing because you can just check it on a monthly basis, just to ensure that the company is doing what they said they would be doing for you. All right? But again, the first two are far more important. They're far more important than that. And then lastly, and this should probably be number three, make sure that money back guarantee is in writing. All right. So now, if you found this video useful, please just click the like button. Again, we get thousands of people watching these videos. especially in our subscriber lists, and they seem to like the videos here that I'm doing just off my iPad, the screen capture. So please like the video if you liked it. You can visit our website at www.freefromvacationfees.com, and on that page you'll find a video. Yes, we do deal in helping people get out of their timeshares, and yes, we do all of the methods, or specifically we insist on everything that I've described in this video. This is how we do business personally, and we've had good success with it. So our general time frame as far as getting out of a timeshare is around the 8-month mark. That is very typical. Again, don't believe companies who can tell you they can get you out in 60 days to 90 days. That's generally complete misinformation. It just doesn't work. And again, that 8-month period, we do offer a money-back guarantee, and you pay with a credit card, so you're completely protected with that transaction, and then you can get out and you can breathe easy. So again, you can visit us at www.freefromvacationfees.com. My name is Jason, for those who do not know. On our website, there are places to contact us, and so we hope that you enjoyed the video and that you'll also get in touch.